subordinates and your superiors and your peers, they are tolerating you the whole day. You are uncomfortable with your own self. For 10 minutes, you want everybody else to be comfortable with you. Big message. How many of us are comfortable with our own self? We can give lectures, we can preach. How many of us can turn inwards and be comfortable with your own self? When once you are uncomfortable with your own self, don't expect others to be comfortable with you. Simple philosophy. How many of us are able to turn inside? This is the greatest message I would say Indian ethos conveying to the rest of the world. I am gathering information from my 5 senses. These 5 senses are backed up by the brain, the mind. If the power that backs up these 5 senses are not working properly, the information that I am going to get is also unreliable. Supposing I am driving an aircraft, there is a big panel before me. It shows at what height I am flying, what is the outside temperature, what is the wind tide, what is the fuel. Everything is shown by the panel. Imagine the panel is defective. I am flying at 35,000 feet above sea level, but it shows 10,000 feet above sea level. The fuel is almost becoming empty, it shows full. You know what will happen. I am in the middle of the air, I have only 10 liters of petrol in my wings, but it shows full tank. You know what is going to happen. This is where our Indian ethos starts. You go to Brihadar and Upanishad, this is where they start. Let me try to understand my own body. The student asks an interesting question. I am seeing the world with my 2 eyes, I am listening with my ears, I am talking with my tongue, I am inhaling and exhaling with both the nostrils. Am I inhaling and exhaling with both the nostrils with the same intensity or with the different intensity? How many of us even ask this question? Forget about answering this. If that breath is not there, you will not call me as Jayashankar, you will call me as a dead body. Name changes. That's very, very vital to my living. But how many of us ask the question whether we are inhaling and exhaling with both the nostrils with the same intensity or different intensity? The teacher says it is with different intensity. For about a murta, we inhale through the left nostril, exhale through the other nostril. It is known as Ida, the other one is known as Pingada. When Ida is operational, your mind is quiet, calm. When the Pingada is operating, your mind is agitated. Whenever you take a decision, when your mind is agitated, you are going to take wrong decisions. Can you always shift on the Ida side? That's why we do pranayama. Pranayama has nothing to do with any religion. It is conditioning of your breath, which means conditioning of your body, conditioning of your emotions. When once you become angry, your breath is disturbed. You can't have a normal breath and become angry. Impossible. The moment you become angry, automatically your breath will be disturbed. Therefore, your breath and the mind, they are always connected. Like all these equipments, you have an AC working, you have a tube working, you have a fan working, but the power that backs up all this is the same 220 volts electricity. If that electricity is faulty, you have a low voltage, your lights will not burn, fans will not work, your AC will not be throwing chill air, your hot stove will not work. That's precisely what Indians have understood. I have a body, I have 5 senses, the power that backs up this is the mind. Is that sharp? Is that pure? Chitta Suddhi, that's where they start. No matter what you do, you are a product from Harvard Business School. I care a damn thing for that. The power that is backing up the senses, if that is defective, that is less than 220 volts, your ears will not see, your eyes will not see, your ears will not hear, you will only hear, not listen. The mind must be engaged to the senses. Right? Therefore, this is precisely what our Indian seers have understood. When I want to develop the wholesome personality of the individual, don't look at the external aspects. Look at the internal dimension. The electrifying power. What is it that Gandhiji had which no other leader today or even in the past had done? You all have traits theory of leadership. You must be physically handsome, you must be communicative, you must have a razor-sharp intellect, you must have strong administrative skills. These are all the things that Westerners say on traits theory. Apply any one of them to Gandhiji, you will miserably fail. By no sense of the term, you can call Gandhiji as a handsome personality. You had a beautiful Panditji. I have seen Panditji as a student. He came to St. Joseph's College when I was a student. Very tall, beautiful figure, Panditji. In terms of communication skills, we had one Right Honorable Srinivas Sastri. I don't know how many of you have heard. He was known as the silver-tongued orator of the British Empire. He was knighted by the Queen, OBE, Order of British Empire. He was a school teacher in Kumbakonam, ordinary BA LT, teaching 6th standard, 7th standard, getting a fat salary of 45 rupees. He sacrificed this salary and joined a member of the Servants of India Society, inspired by Gopala Krishna Gokhale, for a fat salary of 15 rupees. When the Britishers interacted with him, they found here is an Indian who can understand the English language and speak that language with such kind of felicity, which even Winston Churchill will not be able to do it. He is supposed to speak the Queen's English once he corrected the English of Winston Churchill. In terms of communication skills, he is such a powerful speaker. Do we remember him? We have forgotten. In terms of razor-sharp intellect, we had Rajagopalachari. In terms of razor-sharp intellect, you can never match him. But in terms of administrative skills, nobody can match Sardar Patel, the great Sardar, Iron Man of India. But what happens to all your traits theory? Gandhiji never had any of these qualities which were in excess to some other people who are working with them. You never admire somebody unless he or she has some quality which you and I don't possess. Otherwise, you can't admire a person. I can't admire you unless you have a quality which you don't have. What is that extra plus which Gandhiji had, which none of the other people in the team had? He was known as Mahatma. He was known as the father of the nation. Anybody appointed him? From today onwards, Mahatma Gandhiji will be the father of the nation for a period of 3 years. Depending on his performance, we will renew this tenure. These are the roles and responsibilities of Gandhiji. Anybody appointed him? Unquestionably, he was a leader of the country. When Gandhiji speaks, he will be able to move the hearts and minds of millions of people in this country. Motilal Nehru, who was having a roaring practice in Allahabad, left that practice and joined the Quit India movement. How can you and I do that? This is the Indian ethos, let's understand. I always used to wonder that in all the board meetings, we are all educated people. I have been the secretary of big boards. You send a meeting notice to the board members 3 weeks in advance, because that is a statutory requirement. You will have to keep calling them, there is a board meeting. 50% of the people don't turn up after 3 reminders. There is a national event going on today, Kumbh Mela, where 200 million people congregate without any invitation, and 45 Harvard professors are camping here to watch what's happening in India. 45 Harvard professors are camping in, I don't know how many of you are aware, 45 Harvard professors are camping in Allahabad to see a humanity of people who are congregating in a particular place without any invitation. Who invited them? I will take care of your TADA. I will provide accommodation for you. None. Starting from those sadhus on the first day, millions and millions of people congregate. On a Vaikuntha Ekadasi day in Srirangam, I know 10 lakh people congregate at 4 o'clock in the morning to have a darshan of Lord Ranganatha. On a Mahamaham, once in 12 years in Kumbakonam, again lakhs and lakhs of people come there to take a dip in the ponds. This, I would say, is the Indian ethos, which runs deep down the white corpuscles and the red corpuscles of the Indian blood, which cannot be easily replicated by anyone in the world. Harvard may be big, but they cannot understand the inner Indian spirit. Why the name Mahatma? You go to the Upanishads, they define who is a Mahatma. Manasyekam, Vachasyekam, Karmanyekam Mahatma. Thought, word and deed must be collinear. How many of us can claim to have this quality of thought, word and deed must be collinear. Except Gandhiji, no one in the group will have that quality. When once the thought, word and deed is collinear, you develop that kind of inner strength, you will be able to move the mountains. You will be able to move the mountains. The courage of conviction. I strongly believe that this Indian nation has to get the freedom from the British. Even if the whole world stands against me, I will fight till the end as an individual. That inner power, which none of the Westerners can understand. Gary Warren was in Bangalore 2 years ago. He was doing a program for CEOs. Again, they invited me. They wanted somebody to cross Gary Warren. He's the teacher of Barack Obama.
What's his name?
Gary Warren, G-A-R-Y-O-R-R-E-N. He is a professor not in Harvard, he's a professor in Harvard University in the Kennedy School of Public Administration.
Yes, yes.
He has done research in persuasion skills for the last 40 years. Very senior person. And he had a sense of pride when he started addressing the group. If today Barack Obama speaks with that kind of persuasive power, 10% of the credit should go to me. I trained them. He started with a sense of pride. He wrote 10 things in his first life. 10 things in the first life, born out of his research for 40 years. If you pick up all these 10 skills, you become a persuasive person. And he made one statement. You're all CEOs of big companies. If you look at all these 10 points, this is common knowledge, common sense, but not common practice. I raised my hand for the last bench. Gary, come here. Gary came to me. Repeat what you said. All the 10 points that I have written, this is common sense, common knowledge, but not common practice. I said, if you cannot persuade yourselves to follow these 10 points, how will you persuade others? Knowing is one thing, doing is another thing. All of us know smoking is injurious to health. All of us know drinking is injurious to health. How many of us are away from these two bad habits, particularly the students? Many of us know what is right, what's wrong. Are we able to follow the righteous path but not the wrong path? No. Thought, word and deed is not kulniya. It's not easy. In the same breath, our Upanishad says, Manasyekam, Vachasyekam, Karmanyekam, Mahatmanam, Manasanyate, Vachasanyate, Karyatanyate, Duratmanam. You think one thing, say another thing, do a third thing. How will you be a leader? The great Karunanidhi, my chief minister in Tamil Nadu, said, Sonnadai Sevom, Seivadai Sulvo. We say what we are going to do, we do what we are going to say. Fortunately, he missed the first lane. What I think I say, what I say I do, then you would have become a Mahatma. It's a political statement. Sonnadai Sevom, Seivadai Sulvo is a political statement. It's not a Upanishadic statement. That inner power is very, very important, which none of the Westerners can understand. Of the 10 things that he wrote, the 4th thing was storytelling. Any good concept you tell through stories. I told Gary, I don't require an American, a white-skinned fellow to come from Harvard and tell me that storytelling is one of the best forms of persuasion. All your Itihasas, Puranas and Jataka stories and Panchatantaras, they are in the form of stories. At the end of the day, in our younger days, I still remember my teacher saying, what is the moral of the story? Every story has a moral, right? Every story has a moral. What is the moral of the story? Several characters have been created on animals. Jackal, known as cunning. Right? And the qualities and the animals, they are all connected, right? I told Gary Warren, I'll say 2 more things. You will do research for another 20 years, find out from India. You don't have to do this, I'm telling you. All these stories are in the form of poems and there is music in it. Ramayana, Mahabharata, they are all in the form of poems and Lavakucha sang it. Tapaswadhyaya niritam tapasviva vidambaram naradam paripaprajya Valmikir Munipungavam. This is how Ramayana starts. Lava and Kucha, they sing songs. The entire story is in the form of poem and there is music in it. Why? You will be able to recall. There are two Shaktis which all students and all human beings need to develop with regard to learning. One is Grahana Shakti, the other one is Dharana Shakti. You must be able to grasp, you must be able to retain. Today both the Shaktis are missing for the Indian students. They are able to neither grasp nor able to retain. Why? Thanks to all these modern technologies. It's a PowerPoint presentation, I can always read it to the rest of the class. I am not criticizing PowerPoint presentation, but I don't use PowerPoint presentation because I have powerful points. Why you are not able to grasp? When I use a PowerPoint, your mind gets shut. Number one, you switch off all the lights. I don't know whether you are sleeping or keeping awake. That's the first problem for me as a teacher. I need to see your face. My thought flow and the delivery depends upon as a feedback from your faces. I can't change the structure if it's already structured through a PowerPoint, right? Therefore, the ability to grasp you must have, the ability to retain, you must have a large memory. Unless you have large memory, how will you retain it? You want a 40 GB hard disk in your computer? You can do lots of good things if you have a large memory, right? If you have a 256 KB, first hour marketing teacher comes, he teaches, you understand. Next hour finance professor comes, marketing is gone. Third hour QT teacher Lakshmi comes, finance goes. Fifth hour OB teacher comes, all the three go. How do you develop a memory in your brain? You can't open up the skull, put a 40 GB hard disk inside. Concentration, meditation, memorization. I have 120 GB hard disk here because of my Vedic training. I had my Vedic Adhyayana when I was a student. Again, let's see the practical utility of all this. First, the instrument that I am using must be sharp. I mean, they go to the roots. I know all of you must have seen, there are two woodcutters. One woodcutter was able to cut 18 trees a day, the other woodcutter was able to cut 36 trees a day. This woodcutter asks, we come at 9 o'clock in the morning, finish the work at 6, how is it that you are able to cut twice the number that I cut? And the bee woodcutter said, what do you do in the morning? He said, I come with my axe and then start cutting it. No, I get a belly in the morning. For 1 hour, 8 to 9, I sharpen my axe. With a sharpened axe, I am able to cut twice the number of trees that you are able to cut. That's precisely what Indians have said. Can you sharpen your intellect? Can you purify your intellect? Then you become more effective as a manager. When you talk of excellence, yoga karmasu kausalam, always keep perfection as your goal. Only God can be perfect. But keep on chasing that perfection, you will land on excellence. Look at the stars, you will go to the moon. If you are looking at the moon, you go to the second floor of this building. That's what Kalam always used to say, think big, dream big. But how do you practice it? When I say all this from my scriptures, why do you use Gary Warren? Because when I say this is what Americans said, you will all be happy. I will say a couple of things from Peter Drucker and then stop. Peter Drucker at the age of 89, at the age of 93, at the age of 89 he wrote an article, My Life as a Knowledge Worker. He says there are 7 experiences that I went through from the age group 18 to 24. These 7 experiences were the 7 steps which helped me to become number 1 as a management guru in the entire world. These 7 experiences I was keeping to myself as a confidential secret information. After 60 long years I thought I must leave this to the world. So he writes that article, My Life as a Knowledge Worker. I will mention a couple of incidents from Drucker's life and then focus on why Yoga Karmasu Kausalam is important. When he was a young boy, 18 years old, working for a foreign firm in the United States, he had plenty of time at his disposal in the evening. Morning 8 to 2, he had his office hours. At 6 o'clock, he goes for an opera. That particular day, the opera was fantastic. He goes to the opera conductor, asks him, this is a fantastic opera. Who composed this? He said, don't you know this opera was composed by the well-known Italian opera composer Verdi, V-A-R-D-I. He asked out of curiosity this 18-year-old Peter Drucker, how old is this man? He says he's 83 years old. He becomes curious. What motivates an 83-year-old man to compose a difficult opera at that age? Is it to get one more promotion? Is it to get one increment? Is it to get a word of praise from the rest of the world? None of the things, this is what you study in your management motivation theories, right? Out of curiosity, Drucker tries to see Verdi and then asks him, sir, I visited one of the opera the day before yesterday. It was fabulous. I want to know as an young man, what motivated you to compose this opera at this old age of 83? Verdi smiles and then says, my dear young man, the whole world has sat on my performance. They have judged me. I am #1 opera composer in the world. But when I sit in judgment over my own performance, I have not reached those dizzy heights of excellence which I know I am capable of reaching. So long as I am alive, I will give an opportunity to myself to improve my performance. I want to evolve as a better human being. I want to evolve as a better opera composer. God has gifted me with so much of talents. Am I using all the God-given talents to the best of my abilities so that I will be able to please the world in which I live? Look at what motivates this old man to compose the difficult opera at the age of 83. Not for a promotion, not for an increment, not even for a word of praise, but I must evolve as a better human being, as a better opera composer, as a person who reached the perfection in my work. Drucker says, I will keep this as my main goal in my life. Whatever I do, I must be able to do better things. Today, young people always compare themselves with the performance of others in the campus.